Former President Donald Trump is in the key swing state of Pennsylvania tonight. He will answer questions from voters at a Fox News town hall hosted by Sean Hannity. 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Correspondent Aisha Hasni is in Harrisburg with a preview. Good evening, Aisha.
Right, good evening to you. This town hall is yet another opportunity for the former president to say, look, I'm willing to take questions on the campaign trail. I'm willing to talk with voters face to face. And tonight he is expected to take questions about the economy, inflation, and immigration. All key issues, the top issues for voters in this state. What are you going to ask him?
What's he going to do in the first 30 days to straighten out the mess we're in right now?
Hundreds of voters lining up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, ahead of a Fox News town hall with former President Trump, hosted by Sean Hannity. It comes as Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris are neck and neck in the Keystone State, according to a new CNN poll conducted across 6 battleground states. Harris leads within the margin of error in Georgia and Nevada, but is up by 6 points in Wisconsin and 5 in Michigan, while Trump is up by 5 in Arizona.
She's had her honeymoon period. People are learning who she is, and now we're leading in the polls.
Harris returns to Pittsburgh on Thursday. Democrats in the state say even without President Biden on the ticket, they believe Harris is prioritizing the state.
It would be natural that a number of us here would be worried that kind of the special attention that President Biden would give us might drop off. That has not been the case.
Both candidates targeting independents and swing voters, while Trump supporters tell Fox the former president can win them over by sticking to his record.
He needs to stick to policy.
And asking voters a simple question.
Do you want to go back to security and safety and your money could buy things, or do you want what we have now?
And right, early voting in some Pennsylvania counties starts on September 16th. That's less than 2 weeks away. But every single Trump supporter that I spoke to today outside of this venue tonight told me that they are voting on Election Day. They will not vote early. That comes despite the fact that the Trump campaign and surrogates out there are trying very hard to get people to get out the vote early this year. Brett.
Those that want people to believe that you want retribution, that you will use the system of justice to go after your political enemies.
Maybe smash a few things along the way.
I love to see Captain America as Donald Trump. This is very, very good. And Robert F. Kennedy smashing quite a bit. Robert F. Kennedy been in the news. We've actually been in the news just a little bit today. Something that was completely and totally shocking and unexpected to us. Something that very, very unique day, actually, for us. Now, today we are going to be covering the Donald Trump town hall. This is something that, of course, Kamala Harris refuses to do, which is to take questions live from Americans. You know, you are running for president, right? The American people would be good people to take questions from, but Kamala Harris doesn't avail herself to that. Kamala Harris doesn't avail herself to taking questions from the corporate press, who would probably deliver a lavender-soaked olive oil massage to Kamala Harris if she were to ask for it, but she won't even do that. Kamala Harris was tonight supposed to stand on a debate stage in Pennsylvania, a must-win state for her. There is no path to victory without Pennsylvania, and to face off with Donald Trump. But instead of doing that live on Fox, where Donald Trump asked to do it in front of a live audience, which would have been gold. I was actually there the last time that Donald Trump did a debate in front of a live audience, massive inside of an arena on Fox News, and it was uproarious. We'll play you a clip from that. This goes live in about 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, and Kamala Harris is totally chickened out. This date was supposed to be the date, again, that they did their first debate live on Fox. I can tell you the reason why they wouldn't want to do the debate is obviously because Kamala Harris is terrified. She's scared of her own shadow. She's scared because President Trump is somebody who not only has been able to obviously expose the corruption inside of our entire calcified and cancerous ruling class here in America, but is also somebody who is very astute at calling out individuals like Kamala Harris. And so we're going to play you a couple of clips before the president gets on. When the president gets on, we'll cut right to that. A couple of clips of what Donald Trump did the last time that he was debating with a woman who is a far left-wing liberal who is despised and hated by most of the general public, who's propped up by organs of the state, who didn't earn what she got, and who was rejected by the American people. But before we get there, just a quick statement from me on behalf of our company and on behalf of what headlines you may or may not have read today. I want to point you to an indictment by the federal government of a company that allegedly took money from Russia Today under the guise of tricking influencers. That company is named Tenet Media. We were one of the influencers that was a victim in this plot, as Merrick Garland says, and as the actual indictment says. We licensed a program. This is something very common in the industry. And our contract with them is terminated. And so that's the end of the story. We hope that those people who wanted to engage in malign influence in our American democracy are brought to justice. That's what America First is. America First is only wanting Americans to vote in our elections, to influence our elections, and that's what we stand for on this channel. And so, well, that's the end of that. And moving on, the end of Hillary Clinton's campaign was when Donald Trump looked her in the face and said, "You're going to be running on all of the problems that you actually created." Now, this is the reason why Kamala Harris is not standing on a debate stage with Donald Trump tonight. Because Hillary Clinton, when this happened last time, this is the perfect cutout for Kamala Harris. It's even better than with Hillary Clinton because Hillary Clinton wasn't vice president. Kamala Harris is going to be running on all of the problems. America being in shambles right now. And who exactly is responsible for that? Are you not currently in power? We've all seen Joe Biden recently. Are you not currently actively acting as the president of the United States? So this is what Donald Trump was able to do to Hillary Clinton on the debate stage. That won him the election in 2016.
Done this years ago, by the way. She was a United States senator. She complains that Donald Trump took advantage of the tax code. Well, why didn't she change it? Why didn't you change it when you were a senator? The reason you didn't is that all your friends take the same advantage that I do. And I do. You have provisions in the tax code that, frankly, we could change. But you wouldn't change it because all of these people give you the money so you can take negative ads on Donald Trump.
You can't change it because of your donors. You refuse to change it even though you've been in power. Even though you're the one, the best one was the line, you created ISIS. Even though you're the one who created ISIS. You're saying you're trying to fight ISIS. You created ISIS. Ladies and gentlemen, we are minutes away, maybe a minute actually away from President Trump taking the stage. And so we want to obviously be live for that. And we want to show you the difference between the two candidates. Obviously, part of the reason why Kamala Harris would not speak to a camera without predetermined questions and without predetermined answers is because the last time she did that, and she's done it only once since she's been anointed president, it sounded like this.
This is just an extraordinary testament to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy and understands the strength that rests in understanding the significance of diplomacy and strengthening alliances. This is an incredible day.
Meanwhile, Kamala Harris is begging to have the microphones unmuted during the debate that they will allegedly have in a week from now. We'll see on the 12th. Last time there were unmuted mics on a stage. This is what President Trump did.
I mean, you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll see. Well, this is the screaming, cheering Fox News audience. We'll see if we get a moment like this tonight with President Trump, who is live right now.
Think about this. In just 13 days, early voting will officially get underway across the Keystone State. In a few days, just mail-in ballots will go out in other states. And we are only 61 days from what I believe is an inflection point for the country. That's less than 2 months away. And that's the 2024 election. The race, according to polls, is close in 7 states. The latest Trafalgar poll has Donald Trump up by 2 in this state of Pennsylvania. This state could very well decide the entire race. Nationwide, the Real Clear Politics average shows statistically it is close, a tie in the states. Meanwhile, left-leaning statistician Nate Silver is giving President Trump a 58% chance of winning the Electoral College. But that too remains close. Trump is now trending up in Nate Silver's model and multiple polls after Kamala's long-lived honeymoon phase now finally appears to be over. Our one and only interview was a whopping 16 minutes and 30 seconds of talk time. I've done a lot of interviews with Donald Trump. I promise you, not one has gone under an hour. She has yet to hold a single formal press conference in 45 days after her coronation. She won't even take unscripted questions from voters at a town hall. Later on, we will be taking questions from this audience. She apparently pretended to be on a phone call to avoid reporters on the tarmac. That was yesterday. The truth is she doesn't have a good answer for her radical beliefs or sudden flipping and flopping and flailing or her horrible record in the Biden-Harris administration. She keeps saying, well, I'm going to deal with inflation on day one. I'm going to deal with the border on day one. Day one was January 20th, 2021.
People are rowdy.
So Kamala,
rowdy in Pennsylvania.
Emotional support. Governor Tim Walz are now hiding in plain sight behind their teleprompter. Short scripted events. Democrats are hoping that Kamala can win on vibes, phony proclamations of joy, and even phonier proclamations of freedom. But in reality, the vibes haven't been the same since Donald Trump left office. Let's look at the facts. Under the former president, Americans had more money, less debt. Housing was more affordable. Food, clothing, insurance, gas, everything was more affordable. Interest rates were at record lows. The world was a more peaceful place. The border of our country was secure. Americans were more safe and secure in their towns and cities. So what happened to this country in the last 4 years under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? And I asked this audience in Harrisburg, are you better off than you were 4 years ago today? Now, here to answer that question and many more, let's give a warm Harrisburg, Pennsylvania welcome to the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
What a massive arena. You can do a better walk-in than that. Where's the red carpet? Where's the red carpet? Can do a better walk-in than that. Play 50 Cent. Let me see the full thing. This is like, must be in a massive, this must be in like a very large, it looks like a sports arena. Some type of like amateur sports arena, right? Got some tractors back there. Yeah. I never like it when they make them sit in these specific chairs, though.
How are you, sir? Great to see you. Grab a seat. Okay. Get comfortable.
Lots of people.
Hello, everybody.
Show the crowds.
Thank you. David. Wow. Nice crowd. I would say it's a big crowd. You know, I mentioned we had this terrible shooting in Georgia. Right. Our prayers are with our friends in Georgia. And I've been doing town halls and interviews in public with you for all these years since you got into the political arena. And I told this audience, never before have restrictions been so tight, obviously after the assassination attempt as well. And Director Ray said the threat level has never been this bad. He said it 5 consecutive times before Congress. What is going on?
Well, it's a sick and angry world for a lot of reasons. And we're going to make it better. We're going to heal our world. We're going to get rid of all these wars that are starting all over the place because of incompetent American leadership. And we're going to make it better. You know, Viktor Orban made a statement. They said, bring Trump back and we won't have any problems. He was very strong about that. So we're going to hopefully do very well. We have an election coming up. And actually, you know, they keep saying 60, but it starts in Delaware and North Carolina and other places a lot sooner than that. So we're going to be, I think we're going to be very well set up to do a great job. And do we love Pennsylvania? Do we love it?
you. Mr. President, let me ask you this. Between Thank you. This is a very tough interview.
One thing I'll say is that we did great in 2016. We did much better in 2020. We got millions of more votes. But there has never been enthusiasm like we have now. I mean, I see it all over. There's never been anything. And I hear the polls are very close and we have a little lead and I just find it hard to believe because, first of all, they've been so bad. They've done such a bad job, but that's why the enthusiasm is so good because they never had anything to compare it by. I ran and I didn't have anything at all. I just was a successful businessman and we did a good campaign. But the next time we had something special. We could talk about what we did, but we never could imagine we'd have borders where 20 million people are poured into our country. Many criminals from all over the world are coming into our country. They're coming from jails, from not just South America, from all over the world. They're coming in at levels that nobody's ever seen. They're coming from prisons. They're allowing prisoners to come out of all countries. They had almost 180 countries represented over the last number of months. 180. Most people don't know that you have that many countries. They're emptying out their prisons and jails. They're emptying out their mental institutions and insane asylums. They're emptying out the sickest people, and they're emptying all into the United States. And you said it better than anybody. More terrorists have come into the United States in the last 3 years than I think probably 50 years. There's never been anything like it. These people are so bad. They're so dangerous. What they've done to our country is they're destroying our country, and we can't let this happen. If they won, you'd have not 20 million, you have 100 million people. You won't have Social Security, you won't have Medicare, you won't have anything already. If you take a look at the numbers, they're filling up and loading up Social Security, Medicare with illegal immigrants that have come into our country, many of them from jails and many of them from very bad places. And we're not going to destroy our country, Sean.
I'm going to play Kamala Harris and the comments that she has made about the border, because I think this is important. I want to play her in her own words about this. You're right. We have people, almost 11 million plus. We don't know how many gotaways there are. We have hundreds of known terrorists that have entered the country. We don't know what countries they've come from. We're allowing people in. They've come in from Iran, Syria, Egypt, Afghanistan, China, tens and tens of thousands, Russia, Venezuela. I don't think they're coming here because they want a better life, as maybe some other people are. And we know nothing about them. We haven't vetted them. I scroll the names often on this show of people that have been murdered, people that have been raped, people victims of violent crime. And this is all happening by unvetted Harris Biden illegal immigrants. What is I can play your tape. I'll play that maybe after your answer, but what is your reaction to you've spoken to some of the families of lovers.
I said at the beginning, I said, I heard they were going to have open borders. They want open borders. She wants open borders. Now she's all of a sudden saying, I think we'll close the borders. She was the border czar, whether you like it or not. But even if you don't want to use that term, she was in charge of the border. It's the worst border in the history of the world, not just here. There's never been a country that allowed 21 million people to come in over a 3-year period. There's never been. And 21 million people, many of whom are from prisons, many of whom are murderers and drug dealers and child traffickers. And by the way, women traffickers. Women trafficking is the biggest, and they're traffickers in women. And they're coming in now, and they're putting them in our Social Security accounts, and they're putting them in our Medicare. And just one thing, if you take a look over the last week, I said this was going to happen, and it's happening. Because these people are tougher than our criminals. Our criminals are nice people by comparison. That's the only good thing. We're showing how nice our criminals are. They came from 22 people recently came from the Congo in Africa. Where do you come from? Prison. What did you do? We refuse to say. We're letting everybody in. We're letting everybody in. take a look at Aurora in Colorado, where Venezuelans are taking over the whole town. They're taking over buildings, the whole town. And the sheriff, who can blame them? I mean, they have AK-47s. You saw it the other day. They're knocking down doors and occupying apartments of people. The people are petrified, and it's getting worse and worse. You look at New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, and now you look at all over the place. You take a look at Iowa, Idaho, places that never had the problem. They're pouring in. 21 million people, that's bigger than New York. And we have to stop it. And we have to do the largest deportation in the history.
Let me play for you. And this is really a problem for the campaign, in my view, is early voting is about to start. And I don't know how many Americans are truly familiar with her positions of decriminalizing illegal immigration and free housing, healthcare, education. Tim Walz wants free college education, legal driver's licenses.
I was so honored today.
And she wants a path to
citizenship. His brother endorsed me.
I saw it. And his whole family. I saw the picture. And honestly, it was a very nice looking family. But his brother endorsed me, and the whole family endorsed me. I said, who are all the people? Let me play
Kamala. There's something weird with that guy. He's a weird guy. JD is not weird. He's a solid rock. I happen to be a very solid rock. We're not weird. We're other things perhaps, but we're not weird. But he is a weird guy. He walks on the stage. There's something wrong with that guy. And he called me weird. And then the fake news media picks it up. That was the word of the day. Weird, weird, weird. They're all going, but we're not weird guys. We're very solid people that want our country to be great again. I mean, it's very simple.
Let's play Kamala in her own words on the issue of immigration.
This whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
You support giving universal health care, Medicare for all to people who are in this country illegally?
Let me just be very clear about this. I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being from access to public safety, public education, or public health, period. We have to have a secure border, but I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented and cross the border as criminals. That's correct. The border is secure. Listen, I think there's no question that we've got to critically re-examine ICE and its role and the way that it is being administered and the work it is doing, and we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
So, and now she wants to offer a path to citizenship, which by any definition would be amnesty. Your reaction?
But, well, before you even start with that, of course it's ridiculous. You can't do it. No country could sustain this. But she wants no fracking in Pennsylvania. She wants no fracking. And she said it 100 times. There will be no fracking. There will be no fracking. There will be no fracking. Then just recently she said, yes, I could approve fracking. Look. This is a woman who is dangerous. I don't think too smart, but let's see. But she loses her train of thought a lot. She goes, that's why she doesn't want to do interviews. Can you imagine her doing an interview like this or like any of them? I mean, she did an interview with Dana Bash on CNN. And, you know, I have to tell you, Dana Bash did the debate with Joe Biden with, I used to call him Fake Tapper, but I don't do that anymore. You know why? Because he was very honorable and so was she. And I thought that she would give a fair interview based on the debate because she was fair. I was surprised, to be honest with you. I didn't expect that, but she was fair. I thought I did well. I don't think he did too well. Although a friend of mine said, you shouldn't have done the interview. He's not going to make it. And you know what? He didn't make it. You know, think of this. It's very unfair in a lot of ways. I complain about it, but she ran against him in the primary. She got no votes, and she was the first to leave. 22 people or something like that. And she dropped. She was down to nothing, never even made Iowa. And he got 14 million votes, and they threw him out. They said, we want you out. And he wasn't going to win, I don't think. I mean, I don't think he was going to win, but we did a good debate. We had a good debate, and it was a fair debate. And he was down like 18 or 19 points after the debate. And I hate mosquitoes. I'm surprised. I didn't think we had. We don't like those mosquitoes running around. We want nothing to do with them. And we want nothing to do with bad politicians that hate our country, too. You want to know the truth. But they went to him and they said, we want you out. You're not going to win. And it was really a coup when you think about it. And the woman who came in, the person that came in last, I mean, she came in last. She was the first one out of all those people. You had many people that did pretty well. It was actually close at the end. And then in South Carolina, and by the way, New Hampshire was so badly treated by the Democrat Party and by Joe Biden and her. I can't imagine New Hampshire voting for him. Anybody in New Hampshire, because they're watching right now, but anybody in New Hampshire that votes for Biden and Kamala, I really think, I call her a comrade Kamala because that's what her ideology is. But you know that she did something after decades and decades and decades. It was Iowa, the first two, Iowa, New Hampshire. And that's the way people thought it was going to be. He didn't want to go to New Hampshire. He didn't want to play the New Hampshire game. And so he went to a different state. We won't mention. It's a great state. I won it by a lot. I love that state. But he dumped New Hampshire. And I said to people today, who the hell from New Hampshire would vote for this guy? He changed the whole primary system. He changed the whole system because he took them out of the order. I think it's going to have a big effect. We really want to win New Hampshire. I've done well there, and we really want to win New Hampshire.
Let me go back to the issue, and it's a big issue in the state of Pennsylvania, and you mentioned it. And let me just tell the audience so everybody is fully aware, is that tonight Fox offered a debate opportunity between you and Kamala Harris, and I was not going to be here, but it was going to be Brett and Martha.
This was supposed to be a debate.
Right.
Yes.
So I would have preferred.
I
think he's a nice guy, but I would have preferred a debate.
Thanks a lot.
But this is the best we could do, Sean.
You're stuck with me. No, let me though play, because the big issue in this state is the issue of banning fracking. Now, in that, I thought it was a horrible interview and a missed opportunity. Do you know, for 16 minutes, she spoke for 16 minutes and 29 seconds. And that whole interview, the only interview, you and J.D. Vance have done, this is your 36th interview or press conference between the two of you. And we don't know if she supports the Green New Deal she co-sponsored with Bernie Sanders. That would cost $93 trillion. We don't know if she stands by that. We don't know if she supports Medicare for all. That would eliminate all private health insurance. We don't know if she would really ban fracking. Now, in the CNN interview, she said, well, I said in 2020 that, I would not ban fracking. CNN had to fact check her and say, no, she never said it. This is what she really said.
Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office, adding the United States to the list of countries who have banned this devastating practice?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yes.
So would you ban offshore drilling?
Yes. And I've, again, worked on that.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, you're a better businessman than I am. Isn't energy, fracking, oil the lifeblood of the world's economy?
So the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania cannot even take a chance because that's the real opinion from her. Now, the whole country would go down the tubes if you didn't do the fossil fuel thing. It just would go. And you can do all sorts of other things. But, you know, Germany tried it and it lasted for about 9 months and they were going to go down the tubes entirely. And somebody else came in and I hate to say they're building a coal plant every single week, and they're building nuclear and they're doing a lot of things. It's never worked. It never will work. But Pennsylvania can't take a chance that that answer is true. But she's been there for 20 years. That's what she's been saying for a long time. And she will do that. There's no chance that she's going to allow it. The election will take place. If she won, you're not going to have any fracking in Pennsylvania. You have 500,000 jobs. Think of that. It's your biggest business. And you get a big majority of your income from fracking. And you have somebody that's not going to allow fracking. She's not going to allow it. You can't take the chance. You have no choice. You've got to vote for me. You've got to vote for me. You got to. Even if you don't like me, you know? Yeah. No, but even if you don't like me, you can sit there and stand that guy, but there's no way I'm going to vote for her. No, you have to have fracking. You know, you're the biggest in the country for this. You have two of the biggest sites in the world. It's a massive business for Pennsylvania, and you can't take a chance. She will not allow fracking. She's not going to, and she's got a lot of other problems too. But for your particular, for the Commonwealth, you have no choice
if I may,
but to allow it.
16 minutes and 30 seconds are up. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much.
The president has spoken for a total of 16 minutes and 30 seconds.
Jeez.
I'll say something else
real quick because we got to break.
That is so embarrassing.
That interview, she had notes. That means she knew the questions, and she had notes. She kept looking down, up. Nobody wants to cover it. I know all about notes. I mean, you know, it's all right if people know that, but she wasn't supposed to have notes. So she's asked a question. She looks down. She keeps on. She had notes. That means she knew that she knew what was happening.
Did her campaign, when they said that they wanted to change the rules that they had agreed to, did they ask for notes? Did they ask for the?
They wanted notes.
They wanted to be seated, and they wanted your mic hot.
And they wanted a desk. They didn't want to do. I said you got to do a stand.
After they already agreed to the other.
Yeah, but they wanted a desk from the beginning. You know who else wanted a desk? Sleepy Joe. He wanted a desk.
All right, we got to take a break. More with President Trump. We are in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We'll continue our town hall. We'll get audience questions and much more. Thank you for being with us.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, got to unmute. How we doing? Good? Everything good? They say we apologize for that. I try to stay muted because I do not want to talk over Trump, but I can't help myself. Yeah, I find myself screaming and laughing too often during these lives, and so I by force of habit, I try and mute my mic during the president's commentary. But it's really really funny. He just went on a rampage against Tim Walz. talking about the Tim Walz, talking about the family of Tim Walz. Let's go ahead over here. Just an interesting little divot here. We talk about Kamala Harris collapsing in the polls, and oh, by the way, that 16 minutes flew by. That was all Kamala talked for. That was it. We got another 45 minutes with Donald Trump. Okay, so we're going to come back as soon as the commercial breaks over. We're going to hop back right on. We won't miss a second. We got our entire production team on hand right now. But yo, that flew by quickly. So Nate Silver out with a new favored poll today. So based on all of the data and all the waiting, who's favored to win the presidency? Donald Trump. We told you by this time next week, Donald Trump would be beating Kamala Harris as badly as he was beating Joe Biden after the debate. Mark our words. Look at this. President Trump zooming, 58% chance. Harris, 42. She is collapsing, ladies and gentlemen, collapsing. So on our feed right now, pinned to the very tippy top, is what Donald Trump talked about there, which is why I mute my mic, actually, because I was roaring with laughter. I noticed the chat was also roaring with laughter. I try and avail myself to the chat and just get into the chat without yelling over President Trump. I try my hardest not to yell over President Trump, which is why I'm glad they're going to mute the mics. I'm personally glad they're going to mute the mics. You probably have heard of this. Kamala Harris has not actually agreed to the debate. So we hope there's going to be a debate in approximately 1 week from now. Kamala Harris has yet to agree to the actual debate because she wants the mics to be hot so she can pull the boom clap on speaking thing and get her Kavanaugh moment. That was just reported today by Politico. She wants her Kavanaugh moment. She can talk over Donald Trump and snipe at him. I'm in favor of actually the mics being muted, and I'm in favor of Trump doing her same thing that he did to Hillary Clinton and to Joe Biden. However, Trump's complete and total hilarity shines through in these moments. This is what he was talking about. Look at this on our page. So 288,000 likes, 66,000 reposts, and 10,000 comments. This is Tim Walz's family, including what I believe to be his mother, brothers, and sisters, and their relatives. So Tim Walz's direct family endorsing Trump today. Entire family endorsing Trump today. Donald Trump going on a rampage against Tim Walz, saying, this guy's creepy. Something wrong with this guy. Scott Pressler saying, are they registered to vote? Imagine your entire family rooting against you. Happy to see they're not all communists. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, new polling out from Rasmussen. Now, these are national polls. So really what matters is the swing state polls the most. But the national polls still indicate like the direction that the nation is heading. And Donald Trump is now leading handily where he was not leading just a couple of weeks ago. Meanwhile, Polymarket has President Trump up by 5 points in the betting markets. The smart money's on Trump. Kamala is faking phone calls to avoid speaking to the press. People watch this kind of stuff and they say, nah, man. Have you seen the Minnesota polls? It's crazy. Minnesota polls, Donald Trump's within 5 points of Kamala Harris. It's the best Republicans done in Minnesota in my lifetime. So Donald Trump's up by 5 points away from Kamala in Tim Walz's home state. Maybe these guys know something. Maybe these guys know something. Donald Trump saying he wants to bring them on the campaign trail. So the Nate Silver model flipped hard today in favor of Trump. And now it looks like Donald Trump is up by quite a significant number in Pennsylvania. This is obviously where he is today. It's where he should have been. It's where Kamala should have been today with President Trump on the stage. And I'm glad that they brought that up. But Kamala Harris chickened out and that she was looking at notes during her CNN interview. I'm going to play a clip from her on CNN. Actually, I think we'll be back to Fox. I think we don't want to miss any of what Trump says, so we'll play it afterwards. But I think we have proof that she was actually looking at notes. Because the entire time she's looking down. The whole time she's looking down. Keep registering voters. You guys know Scott Pressler. Don't stop or slow down a gosh darn second. Now Scott Pressler is officially flipping entire counties. Flipping entire counties red in the state of Pennsylvania. Where was Kamala Harris today? It was very interesting. Guys, can you give me that clip of how Kamala was greeted in New Hampshire? This is quite quite fascinating. Kamala Harris went to New Hampshire, was greeted by an army of Trump supporters, and there's a big drama out of all this. The big drama is that Kamala Harris had to bust in all those supporters from allegedly executive producer ALX's house. Not saying ALX is a secret Kamala supporter. I'm simply saying that they all came from Massachusetts. Local news has come out, and here's the Minnesota poll that we were just talking about. Local news has come out and said that Kamala Harris had to bring in dozens of buses, had to bus in dozens of people to the event today in New Hampshire. And this is what was waiting for Kamala Harris. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are live again with President Trump. This is live.
Been the greatest victims of terror. Also have the courage to reject that term illegal alien. I have seen some of the worst of criminal behavior. I have seen the worst of crime. An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal.
All right, we continue in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We're broadcasting in front of a massive crowd. By the way, we have in our audience, he is the Republican challenger to a 98.6% Joe Biden, Kamala Harris voting supporter. Dave McCormick is running against Senator Casey in what is a very important race. Dave, great to have you.
Thank you.
Now, you just heard Kamala Harris, our country's failed border czar, talking about her commitment. You need the courage to never say the word radical Islamic terrorism or illegal alien. President Trump is back with us. What is your reaction to that? Because who attacked us on 9/11 and who's crossing our border?
So she wants to be politically correct, and we can't be politically correct anymore. Look, we have October 7th. People saw it. We have things going on in the world right now with Israel and with the Middle East is blowing up. It's blowing up. We have Ukraine and Russia. That would never happen. That would have never happened. October 7th would have never happened. If I were the president, it would have never happened, and everybody knew it. Iran was broke. They didn't have the money for Hamas and for Hezbollah. They didn't have the money for anybody. They wanted to get by. And we would have made a fair deal with them. I was only looking to make a fair deal with them. But, you know, I wanted to say it so much during my term. We went 4 years without any blow-ups. We had no World Trade Center blow-up. We had no radical Islamic terror. We had no radical Islamic terror because we were very tough at the borders and we were very tough with our statements. And we had the whole world was a safe place. That was the question they asked Viktor Orban, who's really considered a very strong. They said he's a strong man. Sometimes you need a strong man. He's a strong man. He's the prime minister of Hungary. And he said, you bring back Trump, everybody, now I'm not saying it, but he said it because I'd rather say respect. But he said, everybody was afraid of Trump. You bring him back, you're not going to have any problems. It's all going to go away. The world is blowing up. The world is blowing up.
This brings...
And Sean, one thing.
Yeah.
The world is blowing up. And when you look at Ukraine and you look at Russia, you look at all the things that are happening, we are potentially getting ready. I'm telling you, and I've made a lot of predictions, and this is not a prediction because it's so bad. I don't want it to be a prediction. We're heading into World War III territory. And because of the power of weapons, nuclear weapons in particular, but other weapons also, and I know the weapons better than anybody because I'm the one that bought them and we rebuilt our entire military. We upgraded our entire program. And the one program I hated to upgrade, hated it, was the nuclear program. And I understand it maybe better than anybody. My uncle was at MIT, a professor, the longest serving professor in the history of MIT, a very smart guy. We have a smart family. It's nice to have a smart family. But I understood nuclear for a long time, the power of nuclear weapons. You need a president that's not going to be taking you into war. We won't have World War III when I'm elected. But with these clowns that you have in there now, you're going to end up having World War III. And it's going to be a war like no other.
Let me ask you a more personal question, because you paid a very big price for getting into the political arena. Never mind opportunity costs that you would have had. You've had a successful business. Obviously, you've been a victim of lawfare, if you will, or a weaponized Department of Justice. Although the Supreme Court ruling on immunity, I think, was very clear, although certain judges may not abide by it.
Yeah.
And I listened to you talk about the borders. I listened to you talk about how dangerous the world situation is. I listened to you talk about the economy and fracking and the need for energy, and I hear you. And then I asked myself, okay, why is this different? If 2016 was about the forgotten man and forgotten woman, what is 2024 about?
So it's not that different. It's still about the forgotten man and the forgotten woman. The people are being treated horribly in this country. We're a country that's being laughed at all over the world. And I'll be honest, if Joe Biden would be a great president, I would be happier than being the worst president in the history of our country, because I want to see what's good for the country. And I would have been very happy. I have very nice places I could be. This is not easy. I got shot at, I got hit. I could have been all over that place. I could have, but you know what? It's very simple, and it starts with make America great again. That's what we have to do.
It makes me think that...
Oh, man, what a great answer. What a great answer.
If you look at everything that we discussed tonight, and you look at your platform,
Thank you.
what really infuriates me, and I'm straightforward. I'm a member of the press, but I'm a talk show host. I'm a conservative, and people know where I stand. I think the press, they're all liberal talk show hosts, but they're dishonest about who they are, and they have an agenda. They've never played Kamala in her own words, so radical statements or extreme statements, I think dangerous statements. And I just think that if we're talking about the border, all of these 11 million, it was all preventable. I think on the economy, if you had sound economic policy, you handed off 1.4% inflation, we'd be doing better in the economy. We'd be energy dominant by now because we were on a path towards energy dominance. We wouldn't have to, Iran was in check. You had them on the verge of bankruptcy. Russia, you had a relationship with them, and North Korea and the Moas.
But nobody was tougher with Russia than me. I shut down the biggest pipeline in the world that Russia was building. It was called Nord Stream 2. Nobody ever heard of it. And I said, no way. I said to Germany, there's no way we're going to protect you with NATO and spend billions of dollars protecting Europe, and you guys are going to be buying oil from the person and the group that we're protecting you from. And I shut it down. It was 100% shut down. And then this pathetic person comes in, and he immediately approves it. But he shut down the Keystone XL pipeline, our pipeline. So And the head of that union, by the way, the pipe fitters union, the pipeline union, the head of that union nominated and was a big deal in the Biden campaign, and he endorsed him. And those people, 48,000 people lost their jobs. It was all approved. I got it approved. Obama rejected it. I approved it. It was starting. They spent billions of dollars. It was also, and they rejected it. It would have been fantastic for us, including the 48,000 jobs. And what he did is he let Russia build the pipeline that I had stopped. It was totally stopped. Going to Germany and other countries. Think of it. We protect them from Russia, and yet they pay Russia billions of dollars. Does it make sense? So I was the toughest on Russia. Putin would even say, you know, if you're not the toughest guy, you're killing us. I'd hate to see you if you were really tough. This was the biggest job they've ever had, and I stopped it. And you know what? Russia would have been fine. China would have been fine. China was fine. China paid us hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs under me. Under no other president, and I mean right from the beginning, did they pay 10 cents.
You know, we're going to get to audience questions. I do have a question as we go to break. And I think this should be a question asked in every presidential election. And I'll ask the people here in Harrisburg, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Okay. When we come back, more former President Trump. We're in Harrisburg, PA, as we continue.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Rock and roll. I look forward to the audience questions. Obviously, you can see the audience there is rowdy. What is the name of the arena? It looks like it's an arena that's going to be, it's going to have like maybe 20, 30,000 people max capacity. It's a big arena. And this is going to be, this is going to be something that's going to obviously be very interesting. Donald Trump taking questions from the audience. You never know what you're going to get, but what you typically do get is gold. Now, what is Donald Trump in his best element? Donald Trump in his best element is when President Trump is up against a moderator. When Donald Trump is up against a journalist, a member of the press, it is really funny the way that he interacts. Can you give me the last time Trump did one of these live town halls, and it was adversarial, it was on CNN. Can you guys get me Trump? Oh, I got to whip it out. And then Donald Trump, your nasty woman, with Kate Land, Collins. Get me that. It was really classic and a good one. This is on your screen because we had to cut right back to Trump. This is what we were talking about yesterday. This is what we were talking about the days before, that Kamala Harris buses in people to her rallies. And Kamala Harris does bus in people to her rallies. We actually have that provably today. Look at this. Look at this. So we've been talking about this for a week. Now, people came for us on X because we said Kamala Harris is fake, that her support is fake, and that these people, this all started with her Las Vegas rally. And in her Las Vegas rally, I had a little birdie that told me in the Las Vegas rally and in the Arizona rally, because we had people working the rallies, all right? We had people that were there, that were on staff. And they told us that you would not believe the number of buses that showed up from LA to bring people to Kamala Harris, bring people to Kamala's rally. And so we said, no, Kamala's busing people in. And everyone came, came for us and tried to fact check us and everything like that. No, this is like stand by our sources. Lo and behold, today, Kamala Harris is in New Hampshire. Today, this is a video that comes out of New Hampshire of, what do we have here? Oh, little old New Hampshire. Kamala busting them in. Look at that. From Massachusetts. Yankee, huh? Amazing. So she's literally shoving them onto Yankee buses and sending them in. The line goes on and on and on. So this is what Kamala Harris needed in New Hampshire today, along with, I guess, a very big limousine there. This is what Kamala Harris needed in New Hampshire. Why is Kamala Harris even in New Hampshire? What a panic. What panic the entire campaign is in. The major reporting out tonight is the Kamala Harris campaign is in the full stage meltdown because they are losing. Polls show them, their internals show them losing Pennsylvania, losing North Carolina, losing Arizona, on the borders, on the borderline in Wisconsin, and on the borderline in Michigan. And you are having a very, very tough. If she loses Pennsylvania, I mean, there's very few scenarios where she actually ends up winning the presidency. And so President Trump is in Pennsylvania today. Kamala Harris is in a border state in New Hampshire, and is talking. Is trying to do an event there. She had to bus in people, and she's doing an event there because her polls are so bad.
306.
That's
27 buses.
This is Kamala Harris getting greeted in New Hampshire. Crazy commie Kamala. Thank you for the commie Kamala. Okay, so this is what was waiting Kamala Harris as she was busing people in. This is actually what it looked like for the Donald Trump event here. My team is telling me that the capacity at this arena is close to 8,000 people. So you're close to 8,000 people at the arena where President Trump is speaking. And if you're just joining us, President Trump is doing a live town hall. It's currently a commercial break right now on Fox News. It is a commercial break, and we'll be right back to President Trump when he starts taking questions from the audience, which are rowdy and always very, very fun. The last time President Trump did this, President Trump was on CNN. Boys, do we have those clips loaded? Yeah? Okay. Yeah. So here's President Trump on CNN with Caitlin Collins. This was a town hall, but the real joy was actually watching Donald Trump versus Caitlin Collins. Let's go.
On that day,
He
you said
did
you
not
weren't.
say that.
He has testified that, Mr.
He did
President.
not say that.
But you said you weren't very involved that day. You did tell your supporters to come to Washington. You tweeted about it, about
Sure,
that
of
speech
course.
that happened on the rally.
Am I allowed to say that?
When they went to the Capitol and they were breaking into the Capitol, smashing windows, injuring police officers, why did it take you 3 hours to tell them to go home?
I don't believe it did. Oh, let me pull it out. I have to pull it out.
Oh, let me pull it out. I have to pull it out.
Can you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to. You're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
Ooh, you're a nasty person. Donald Trump is back live. Here we go. This is live, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, these price spikes seem like they're going to be with us for a while. We have to address the fact that we got to deal with the fact that folks are paying for gas, paying for groceries, and need solutions to it.
Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office, adding the United States to the list of countries who have banned this devastating practice?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. And it's rough. Groceries, the cost of groceries has gone up, the cost of gas has gone up. And as this is all happening in the context of 2 years of a pandemic, it's one of the highest priorities actually for the president and for me.
That is called Bidenomics. That is called Bidenomics, and we are very proud of Bidenomics.
All right, we continue she's very proud of Bidenomics. With Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, that was Kamala Harris touting her pretty radical beliefs on the economy in her own words. According to Kamala, her values have not changed. We don't know where she stands because she's only done an interview for 16 minutes and 29 seconds spoken. So on the issue of the economy, how many of you in this room, and you can all close your eyes so you're not looking at your neighbor, have struggled economically in the last number of years? Wow. Wow. And when I started my adult life, I struggled to pay my rent. My jobs, I've listed them 100 times, working in the service industry and bartending and cooking and washing dishes and construction. Not McDonald's, that was a lie.
By the way, she didn't work at McDonald's, right?
She did not. Well, there's no evidence of it.
Did she work at McDonald's? Because
so far, no evidence.
I don't think so, based on what I saw.
Here's my question. She wants to raise corporate taxes. She wants to raise small business taxes, capital gain taxes, estate taxes, the international corporate minimum tax, to the point where America won't be competitive anymore. And your tax cuts are about to expire in 2025. What does this mean for the economy? What does it mean for everybody here struggling?
So I gave you the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country. If you let the Trump tax cuts expire, which she wants to do, she wants to terminate them. If you do that, you will suffer the biggest tax increase in history. There's never been a tax increase like it. On top of which, she wants to add a lot of tax. This country will end up, and I've said this a lot, and I mean it, this country will end up in a depression if she becomes president, like 1929. This will be a 1929 depression. She has no idea what the hell she's doing.
What if unrealized capital gains taxes were implemented? What would
she wants to do that. This is where you have something, you don't even know what the value is. I tell you what, if that's going to happen, go out and open an appraisal company because you're going to make a fortune. That's about the only group that's going to make it, and accountants. It is the craziest idea. And remember this, very rich people and big international corporations, they don't have to stay in the United States. And they will be forced to leave for other countries. They can't afford to do a thing like that. They may have great wealth and no cash, and they're going to have to pay cash. Where are they going to get the cash? If they do that, the unrealized capital gain, it's been talked about for a few years by ultra-left Marxists only, like her father's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist teacher of economics. Can you believe this? But if that happened, this country, and I think forgetting about that particular, she's got a lot of things that are just as bad. If she gets in, I think we will have a depression, 1929 style depression. That's what I think will happen to our country. Already they've set us on a path.
What about price gauging, as she calls it, or gouging?
Well, she called it gauging.
And what if they implement that and then price controls?
Yeah,
that's been tried in
many times.
The former Soviet Union, Venezuela, even in this country in the 70s, it was a disaster.
Yeah, every time it's been tried, no matter over hundreds of years, not just over hundreds of years, price controls. You end up with no product, you end up with massive inflation, and you end up with the destruction of a country.
How does this impact? How do high interest rates impact? How does inflation impact everybody that's here?
Well, they can't buy a home. They can't do anything. Your business is stopped up. You can't borrow money. And by the way, I had interest rates at 2%. Now they're 10%, but you can't get the money. You can't get the money. There's no money available. So 10% is right. You know, if you can't get the money, 10% is not the right number. It's got to be much more than that. You can't borrow money to buy a house now.
It really is unbelievable. So we have all of this. Now, let me talk about, in 6 days, you will have probably your only opportunity to debate Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
If I vote instead of George Stephanopoulos' network that I get to moderate the debate. Just saying. But, ABC is not.
John, ABC is the worst network in terms of fairness. They had a poll where I was 17 points down a couple of days prior to the election. I was 17 points down in Wisconsin. And they do that so people don't vote because, hey, I love Trump, but he's 17 points down. I'm not going to go out and vote. I was 17 points down and I won. And I called the best pollster. I said, why wouldn't they say 5 or 4 or 3? Because at 3, you go and vote. At 17, your people say, I want to vote, but, I'm busy. I have other things to do. Let's go see a movie and watch the results later. They are the most dishonest network, the meanest, the nastiest, but that was what I was presented with. I was presented with ABC, George Slopadopoulos, you know who he is? And he's a nasty guy. And yet, he's a nasty guy. I've had him up to here. But let me tell you, he's a very, very bad kind of a guy. But I watched his interview of Joe Biden. It was like the softest interview I've ever seen. It was softer than the CNN interview of Kamala. But they're very nasty. And I think a lot of people are going to be watching to see how nasty they are, how unfair they are. I agreed to do it because they wouldn't do any other network. The other thing is, her best friend is the head of the network. Her husband's best friend is married to the head of the network. And they're going to get the questions. I've already heard they're going to get the questions in advance. They even have Donna Brazile. Remember Donna Brazile? Donna Brazile, she's the real beauty. Donna Brazile, she gave Hillary Clinton the questions. You remember that? And she works for ABC, and she's at the round table talking about the debate.
So we're going to watch very closely, but you're not allowed to do it. We even have a clause in the contract. You can't give them the questions, but I'm not sure it's going to help her that much, though. I think you might give her the questions and give her the answers with the questions. I'm not sure it's going to help her.
I don't know. All right, now, so unlike Kamala Harris, our time is actually up. However, we're going to let Dave McCormick ask the first question, and we're going to air that not tonight, but tomorrow night.
He always does this, yeah.
I do.
Our time's up, but you know what? Let's make 2 shows out of it.
More from President Trump as we continue. We are in the all-important state of Pennsylvania in Harrisburg. Thank you for being with us.
As we continue, okay. Well, this is a little bit of a bait and switch. Goodness gracious, had enough of that today. Okay, so as we continue, so Donald Trump is going to get probably the last word on all of this. President Trump is hitting Kamala Harris where it hurts, saying that she needs to be given the answers for debates. She needs to be given the questions for any softball interviews. Pulls out the old George Slopadopoulos, which is it your favorite nickname? It's probably my favorite nickname. If Donald Trump had taken our advice, and when I'm press secretary, I'll be happy to give him this advice. If Donald Trump had taken our advice and said, "Commie Kamala," commie, not comrade. Comrade means she's our friend. No. Commie Kamala. Call her Commie Kamala. Okay? Take that advice. Go there. Then that would have been my favorite nickname. But George Slopadopoulos, I think, actually is my favorite currently active nickname in the Donald Trump lexicon. So we will hear back from Donald Trump, and we're going to, I don't know, producer ALX, are they going to go do an hour 2 of questions and answers, or are they going to air that tomorrow? Is that what's going on? Yeah, I mean, so it's like, they're going to, no, he said we're going to be back with President Trump. So they're going to be back with President Trump. I think they're going to do an hour. I think they're going to do an hour 2. That sounds like they're going to air it tomorrow. Producers, jump in my ear. Let me know. Yeah, I guess we don't know. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. That was a very strange comment by Sean Hannity, who's sort of known to go off prompter. He says we're going to get questions from the audience. He even said Dave McCormick is the man who's going to ask the question. So is that going to happen live? Is that going to happen in an hour 2 of this, right? Are they going to continue on with President Trump? Or is that going to be something that airs tomorrow? Perhaps that's what they were talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not exactly sure. We are sure of this, that CNN is in complete and total panic. That CNN is, right now, saying that this is a razor-thin battleground state battle, and that President Trump is the one with all of the steam. Now, a reminder, President Trump is the closer, dude. President Trump is the closer. President Trump is the man. We got this clip, boys. President Trump is the guy who is able to deliver the message and have the energy to get on the road and actually go. I mean, let's take a quick inventory. President Trump dropped a Lex Friedman hour-long podcast, Theo Vaughn hour-long podcast, Aiden Ross live stream. What else am I missing here? These are just some oddball stuff. In the meantime, he's been doing a bunch of interviews with corporate media, independent media, and local media. Kamala Harris has done a single interview, and she needed notes. And even with notes, and even with presumably the answers ahead of time, as Donald Trump has alluded to, Kamala Harris still made no damn sense.
The climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have...
Okay, deadlines around time. What does that actually mean? A simple follow-up question is all we need. What does a deadline around time actually mean? What is that? What did you say?
Speaking
here.
How should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time.
Again, it doesn't make any sense. This is why Kamala Harris will not be debating President Trump tonight. This was what was supposed to happen. This Also, man, she looks, this is not a confident person. She looks rough, dude. She is not ready for this. She's just not ready for this. And these were softball questions that she already knew. Ladies and gentlemen, we are monitoring the feed. Here we are.
Time we have left this evening. Thank you, President Trump. Great to see you. Thank you for being with us.
All right.
We love you. In the meantime, say your DVR so you never miss an episode. Let out your heartbeat chuggable. Greg Gutfeld is next to put a smile on your face. Part 2 of Donald Trump tomorrow night.
Okay. Sneaky, Sean. Very, very sneaky. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we didn't know that was going to happen. This has been billed. Last thing we'd ever do is lie to you. This has been billed as a town hall with Trump, and that Donald Trump would be taking all of these questions for all these people. Here's the walk. Oh, hell yeah. This is President Trump walking out here in Pennsylvania. Do we have the other clip? Just load everything in the chat, please. We have the other clip. Trump walking out. You see, like, there's thousands and thousands of people there. So who's so Donald Trump, I guess, is going to be doing his questions tomorrow. So there it is. Let's go ahead and just got to show you this one. It's so awesome. This is Trump tonight. Look at that. It's a great looking arena. This is like a livestock arena. Have you ever been in a livestock arena? Been to like a state fair or anything like that? This is what it looks like. Classic, good, hearted Pennsylvania, rowdy crowd. You could hear the crowd yelling and interjecting regularly with President Trump. I do think they should have played 50 Cent when he walked out. I think that was a missed opportunity, but that's just me. So my favorite moment of the night, without question, is going to be creepy Tim Walz and talking about how goofy, feline, feminine. Tim Walz is absolutely far more feminine than Kamala Harris is. Just absolute jerk who apparently hasn't not spoken to his family in nearly a decade. They didn't even know he was running for vice president. And they came out and they endorsed, they all came out and endorsed President Trump today, as we showed you and Donald Trump alluded to. But Donald Trump going in on Tim Walz, probably my favorite moment of the night.
Is early voting is about to start, and I don't know how many Americans are truly familiar with her positions of decriminalizing illegal immigration and free housing, healthcare, education. Tim Walz wants free college education, legal driver's licenses.
I was so honored today.
And she wants a path to citizenship.
His brother endorsed me.
I saw that.
And his whole family. I saw the picture. And honestly, it was a very nice looking family. But his brother endorsed me, and the whole family endorsed me. I said, who are all the people?
Let me play Kamala.
There's something weird with that guy. He's a weird guy. JD is not weird. He's a solid rock. I happen to be a very solid rock. We're not weird. We're other things, perhaps, but we're not weird.
This is very solid. Donald Trump's message for 2024 about taking a bullet for you. Reminder that he's not too far away from where he took a bullet. I thought this was incredibly strong.
2016 was about the forgotten man and forgotten woman. What is 2024 about?
So it's not that different. It's still about the forgotten man and the forgotten woman. The people are being treated horribly in this country. We're a country that's being laughed at all over the world. And I'll be honest, if Joe Biden would be a great president, I would be happier than being the worst president in the history of our country, because I want to see what's good for the country. And I would have been very happy. I have very nice places I could be. This is not easy. I got shot at, I got hit.
Donald Trump pointing. I don't want to pause the clip for too long here, but notice Donald Trump points right to his ear
for
here.
the country, and I would have been very happy. I have very nice places I could be. This is not easy. I got shot at.
Look at that. He points right to the top of his ear. And if you get up close, you can see there is like scarring on the top of his ear. Some photographers with lenses that can get close enough, you can see like very rough scarring on the top of his ear where it took off a hunk of President Trump's head when he ate a bullet for you and me. Again, not too far from here. Great applause.
I got hit. I could have been all over that place. I could have. But you know what? It's very simple. And it starts with make America great again. That's what we have to do. It makes me think.
So President Trump going in strong on his 2024 message and then talking about mosquitoes. Why not?
It was down like 18 or 19 points after the debate. And I hate mosquitoes. I'm surprised I didn't think we had. We don't like those mosquitoes running around. We want nothing to do with them. And we want nothing to do with bad politicians that hate our country, too. You want to know the truth. But he had...
I don't typically do this, but producers, was that a mosquito that was on Trump? Am I reading that right, or is there some subtext there that I'm not understanding? Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump using my favorite. It was a mosquito. Okay, so Donald Trump bit by a mosquito, a mosquito that attacked him. Donald Trump attacked again on live TV. This time by a mosquito again in Pennsylvania. All right, very good. Donald Trump using my favorite nickname.
Presented with ABC, George Slopadopoulos. You know who he is. He's a nasty guy. He's a nasty guy. I've had him up to here. But let me tell you, he's a very, very bad kind of a guy. But I watched his interview of Joe Biden. It was like the softest interview I've ever seen.
So he uses the Slopadopoulos, and Donald Trump will, I guess, soon be availing us to what happened when, because I guess it's happening right now. We just don't get privy to it. It's not being broadcast somewhere else. It's going to be broadcast tomorrow night. So that's what they've said. Producers have confirmed it. Tomorrow night will be the actual Q&A with Donald Trump. Okay. And a reminder that there's something very, there's obviously something very special about this race. Donald Trump asked what the difference is between 2016 and 2014. Oh, wait, no, we've already, okay. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Okay, gentlemen. Let me know if there's any other Trump, let me know, producers, if there's any other Trump highlights we need to hit. We do have an insanely sharp production team here that has a very long memory. And I have this clip for vintage Trump from 2016. Here we go.
There was a mosquito. I don't want mosquitoes around me. I don't like mosquitoes. I don't like those mosquitoes. I never did. Okay, speaking of mosquitoes.
And he's tough on mosquitoes too. Yeah. What's not to like?
He's off prompter.
I don't like mosquitoes, says Donald Trump. Why not a nice, delicious white pill heading into the dark and peace of the evening here, ladies and gentlemen, with CNN's reporting saying, oh my goodness, Donald Trump's going to win. It's so delicious when CNN gets these, push it. Again, very important to know. Kamala Harris won't go up anymore. She has reached her peak. The sugar high is done. Diabetes type 2 confirmed. Got to amputate the leg. It's over. Donald Trump is a closer. Kamala Harris will not close. Kamala Harris can barely get it up to do an interview with CNN for 16 minutes. We were live. We were like, is that it? That's it? The entire thing was like an infomercial for Kamala Harris, like it was an Alexa. And Kamala Harris couldn't finish on CNN. Couldn't get it done. Donald Trump, on the other hand, is making fun of Kamala Harris, apparently lying about her work at McDonald's tonight. This was the last ringer. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Thank you, producers.
100 times working in the service industry and bartending and cooking and washing dishes and construction. Not McDonald's. That was a lie. And
By the way, she didn't work at McDonald's, right?
She did not. Well, there's no evidence of it.
Did she
so
work
far.
at McDonald's? Because
so far, no evidence.
I don't think so, based on what I saw.
Here's my question.
So the background here is that Kamala Harris has, only when she started running for president, has claimed that she worked at McDonald's. There's no evidence of that. There's never been any pay stubs. There's never been any receipts. There's been nothing. There has been nothing to augment or to prove that Kamala Harris ever worked at McDonald's. So no, we don't think Kamala Harris worked at McDonald's. You know who did work at McDonald's? You know who was a McDonald's employee?
How you doing? I put together some really impressive deals, but this thing you pulled off, it's amazing. A big and tasty for just $1? How do you do it? What's your secret?
Got a buck? You're in luck, because you can get a delicious beefy big and tasty, a McChicken sandwich, and lots of your other...
Oh, man. Donald Trump.
Together, Grimace, we could own this town.
I love they use Grimace there. Look at this. Maybe that should be the ticket. Maybe that should have been the ticket in 2024. I don't know. I haven't given it much thought, honestly. But yeah, okay. I can see it. We've actually eaten McDonald's with President Trump. We put that in a documentary like a year and a half ago. We got on Trump's plane and we ate McDonald's with him. It was one of the wildest moments and one of the most exciting moments of my life. I had chicken nuggets, in case you're wondering. I had chicken nuggets. Donald Trump's plane. You get on it. It smells like McDonald's because there were bags and bags of fresh McDonald's there. And the stewardess comes in with a golden tray, and you're sitting there across from Trump, and he goes, "What would you like?" They have the entire McDonald's menu available for you. So what would you like? I got chicken nuggets. I got fries. That's what I got. I got sweet and sour sauce. I dipped them in their sauce and I ate them. Donald Trump ate fries, and he had a burger later. So there you go. It's amazing. It's true story. It's true story. It's in the documentary. So there you go. So Donald Trump does actually know McDonald's. Don't fight Trump. Don't fight Trump on the McDonald's front.
45th.
This was Trump's walkout tonight. Tomorrow night, I guess we're gonna have to do this again, boys. You guys want to? Should we just do this again? We'll do it again. We'll do it again tomorrow night with all these wonderful people asking President Trump about, well, I guess anything. An hour's worth of questions. They're going to start with Dave McCormick. I guess that Q&A is going on right now, and then it'll air tomorrow. And I think that'll be fun. Why not? We love you. We say thank you for supporting us. There are always attacks on us. There are always attacks on our channel. And those attacks, we think they come from flesh and blood. No, man, they're spiritual attacks. Like, it's spiritual attacks. It's spiritual attacks on this nation, spiritual attacks on people who speak the truth. And it's comforting, in fact. Like, there's a calm over moments, like this, where you're built for it. You're built for it because actually, if you read your Bible and if you are a believer, then you understand that those people who get attacked and those people who are targeted are the ones who are spreading salt and light. And that's what we do on this program. We got salt, we got light, and that's it. And we're so proud to do this. We're so excited. We're so ramped up. We got so many exciting projects to release in the next 60 days before the election that we are already hustling and grinding on. We have stuff that's I think it's going to blow your mind. Some things we can announce, some things we can't. We're going to go live with a full boat parade with Eric Trump. It's going to be exciting. What I mean is you're going to go live with us on our channel, full boat parade with Eric Trump. That's just the start. Just the start of some of the things we can announce. Everything is in the works right now for some other very, very exciting experiences. Let's just call them. We're going to take you there in 2024. And that's like the promise of this channel. The promise of this channel is that one, it's never going to be a dull moment. And two, we're going to fight darkness together. That's exciting. We can fight the armies of darkness. We can be salt and light. That's what we're called to be. Trump was very, very salty. Very, very salty tonight. And I guess we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night for round 2. This time the Q&As, which are always wildly, wildly entertaining. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being there for us. We'll always be there for you. It's your boy, Benny. See ya.
Those that want people to believe that you want retribution, that you will use the system of justice to go after your political enemies.
Maybe smash a few things along the way.
truth gon' be? Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.